Welcome into another episode of Roping Dummies. I'm your co-host Taylor Brown, and with me today, Utah cowboy Cash Robb. Cash, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Where are you coming from?
Well, we were in Prescott on the 30th, and then half of our buddy group was up in Oakley yesterday, so we went there to help them, and then I hot-footed over here this morning, and we're gonna go here, and then we'll get on a plane and finish the rest of our fourth out up in the Northwest.
Nice. You looking forward to that plane ride?
Oh, I hope I make it.
That's great. Well, I'll tell you what. For the folks at home, you know, everyone who's trying to get into rodeo may not know everything. Walk me through, you know, what is bulldogging, otherwise known as steer wrestling?
Yeah, you know, steer wrestling is you're on the head side, you know, like the team roping, and then you got two guys. Your helper on the other side is your hazer, and your goal is pretty much that hazer and you are going to run up beside that steer, and you're going to slide off your horse or jump off the horse, I guess, and you're gonna wrestle a farm animal to the ground, I guess is a pretty easy way of saying it. And it's kind of, when you're watching it, doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to it, but there's a lot of things that can happen, or you know, with anything going wrong or anything like that. There's a lot of moving components that go into it. So you got 5 different things that are all trying to work together to make one great thing happen, you know. So
yep, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, we are kind of missing one component. We don't have a horse with us. So let me know, you got a horse? Obviously your horse has a name.
Oh, for sure, yeah. So our buddy group this year, we've been blessed to have a ton of horsepower. The horse I rode at the finals, Mabel, owned by 88 Ranch Performance Horses, is a big one that I'll be riding a lot. And then Tyler Wagaspack, he's got a good horse, Cheese, that I'm riding here today. And then I got a young one that we broke out this week that we're going to start riding a lot too. And so we're blessed with horsepower, and we're able to do this. You know, I'm over here, and the rest of them are in St. Paul right now, so it's easy that we can, you know, break up and still be able to ride horses that we're comfortable on. So
nice. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to introduce you to our heel-o-matic, but today he's going to be a steer-o-matic. So we're going to learn.
I like that.
We're going to learn how to bulldog on our dummy. So if you have a name for him, if you think of something, we'd love to give him a name.
Oh, for sure. I like the steer-o-matic, you know, but he looks like something you'd kind of want to walk up and, you know, you'd have drawn, you know, kind of gan it up a little bit, you know. Something that looks like you're going to be 3 on him, so.
Perfect. Well, you know what? I'll go back home and I'll copyright that so we can keep that. So I'll tell you what, let's back up.
Yeah.
Let's start like we're going back into the box.
Okay, yeah.
So at this point, what are we doing?
Well, you know, back in the box, you know, I just remind myself, you know, just take a deep breath, go see your start, and just go do what you know how to do, you know. And so I try to stay pretty relaxed whenever I'm back in the box, you know. And the more relaxed you are, the more relaxed that horse is going to be. Therefore, that horse is going to work better for you. So there you see a lot of it, you know, people get it real amped up or something, and then, you know, those horses can fill you through that saddle. Yeah. I feel like the calmer you can be, the better off that horse is going to be, because then they're focused on the steer as well.
Yeah, perfect. Then we get that steer lined up, we're going to nod our head, and we're going to kind of take off here. At this point, how fast are you riding? What do you think?
Oh, it just depends, you know. There's a lot of rodeos like Pendleton or Cheyenne, you know, those steers, they're giving a pretty good head start, and once you get, you know, close to them, you're rolling about, you know, 30 miles an hour. You know, I'd say a good fast start right here, you know, steers aren't really moving as hard as they can run, I feel like. But I mean, I feel like we're still going 20, 25 miles an hour, so it's still pretty fast, you know. You're jumping off a moving vehicle, so. Okay,
you brought up jumping. So we're getting close to that steer. Yeah. You start to jump off. You got to get your leg up and over your horse, and, you know, around the steer. So at that point, what are you looking for? For someone like, say, high school is learning to get a little bit better?
For sure. Yeah.
What are we looking for here?
Yeah, I'm looking. I want to set my go up before I even get to the steer. So you know, you don't want to be too far away to where you have to jump at them, because then you're getting your go and then a bad go, and then you don't want to be too close, because then everything's gonna be tight. And you can salvage that, but it's just tougher. So I try to focus on, you know, just to really, you know, whatever you prefer. You know, whenever you start bulldogging, you'll get to where you know where your sweet spot is, I guess you could say. And you know, I feel like, you know, just a little bit of room for me is good. So you're gonna get right about to middle of the rib, shoulder to the steer, and you're just gonna bend your knee and slide off right there, and then just kind of move your hips over to where your body is catching that steer. You don't want your upper body, you know. I like
yourself into it a little
bit.
No,
I mean, not necessarily throw yourself. It's almost like a graceful move over like that, to where that, you know, your thigh or like your hip, and then your arm right here is catching that steer, to where you're catching that steer's body instead of the head. If you try just catching the head, you can't set up your go. If you can catch that body to where you can control that head whenever you catch it, it makes your feet hit better, and it sets up your run so much better.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna take a little take a little stance here.
Yeah.
So you coming in, obviously you got to get where are my hands supposed to be?
So like right here, at this point, you're gonna be right there, and your hand's still gonna be on the saddle horn right there.
Okay, yeah.
And you're right here, and you're right there. And then as your horse comes through, you're going right there.
Okay.
To right here, and then your body's coming up over right there.
Awesome.
And then right there, your horse is placing your feet out there.
Yep.
And your feet are wanting to be right there and right there, you know. And then getting your up over here, right here over that steer. You know, you want a good wide base to where you got a good base. Whenever that steer does start to come around, you have a base to come around and throw them.
Perfect. And we're making a twisting motion. This is gonna be graceful, me getting up. Yeah. We're making that twisting motion this way.
Yeah. So I mean, and you say twisting. You know, you don't want to just totally yank on their head, and then because then you yank on your head, then well, if you go to try to get that nose, if you're back here, you're like this. So you're almost just taking the head and rocking up over them to where you can just get that nose right there and then take the nose out and make them hit is the goal, I guess.
Yeah. And when does that timer stop?
Whenever the steer is, when all your lever is laying flat and you know all 4 legs are out.
Awesome. Yeah. Perfect. Well, that's from nod to finish.
Nod to finish, yeah.
And
hopefully,
we're done.
Yeah, you know, a lot of rodeos, the good 3-second run wins you a lot of money. So there's a lot that can happen in those 3 seconds, but it's there's also a lot that can go wrong. So
that's true.
Hopefully it's a lot of better stuff, you know.
You know, talking about things that go right.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore. You got 4 presidents up there. Who are the guys that you know look up to as you were growing up in Utah? Doesn't have to be Utah guys.
Oh
but
no, for sure. Yeah, I was just trying to think. You know, growing up, you know, you always heard about the legends. You know, you heard about Oatberry and them, and so I'd say, you know, I feel like Oat would be on there. John W. Jones is a very big one, you know, too. And then, you know, as soon as when I kind of started growing up more and watching it a lot more, you know, Luke Brinquino, of course, he was, you know, one of the best.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, just watching him grow up, and then there's honestly so many that I wouldn't have Mount Rushmore. You know, like I'd have 20 Mount Rushmore. You know, I don't even. That'd be a lot of work to put into that, to picking that rock out to put those faces on there. But there's so many great guys, and there's guys that never made it to the NFR that are better than those guys. You know, there's a lot of people that, you know, maybe they just didn't want a rodeo. They knew how to do it, but they just didn't want a rodeo, and so they had other things in life. So, like I said, you could take a little bit from everyone, great person, and learn something from them. For sure.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, and we're here in Greeley, Colorado. We're at the Greeley Stampede, just out back. You know, talking about, again, greats, people. We got a pretty stacked list of guys, you know, riding tonight. Is there anyone that you show up to a rodeo and you go, man, it's going to be a fight?
Oh, that's any pro rodeo you go to. You know, if they have their name on the list, anyone can win, as far as I think. You know, you can't just show up to a rodeo and be like, oh, you know, I got, there's everyone there's there to win. So I mean, you just got to cock your hammer every time and just try to do the best you can on the steer that you have. You know, if there's a day that, you know, you're just not feeling, you're like, I'm just gonna go through the motions. You know, Joe Blow can just walk right through you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you gotta. I'd say, you know, honestly, as far as, you know, looking at stacked, whenever you know you got a lot of tough guys, I love it, because you know it's going to be a 3-second bulldogging. You can just kind of let your hair down and just go do it and just see what happens.
Perfect, man. Well, you know what? I appreciate you being on for one of the episodes of the Roping Dummies. You know, teaching us how to, you know, bulldog. We wish you best of luck tonight here in Greeley. But is there anything you want to sign off with?
Oh, I think that should be it, you know, and I guess if anyone out there's wanting to learn how to bulldog, just get with someone that's been there and done that, and just learn from them and make your style to where it's successful for yourself.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Cash.
Thank you.
Great seeing you.